I do think that pollsters have basically tilted the scales in Trump's direction pretty aggressively. At least they admit it. They admit that they're doing that. It's not like they admit that they're doing that due to the fact that they failed in 2016, especially.
Next, George.
Mary Bruce, thanks.
Thank you, Madam Vice.
There's a full interview that she did with NBC News Now where she had a couple good pop-off moments. But before we get to that, here is Harry Enton. I tend to think the so-called Democratic panic is quite overblown at this point. Harris still has a very clear path to 270 votes. The polls show Harris basically even, if not slightly ahead in the Great Lake battlegrounds. And she still has potential backup in the Sun Belt path.
It's one of these funny things. Depending on which week, I get different friends from different sides of the aisle coming back to me. One week it's the Republicans worrying. This week it was the Democrats that were worrying. But then you look at polling like that, and then we take a look at the race to 270. And I should point out, the race to 270, the path to 270 for Kamala Harris is very clear right now. You know, you talk about Wisconsin. Let's turn that blue. All right, that gets Harris to 236 electoral votes.
That's a lot of red, brother. What do you mean? That's the Electoral College, dog. You do realize that, like, this area under Harry Enton's arm and this right here is like basically half the fucking population. Like, yeah, that's just, you know, grass is red in America. Exactly. Land doesn't vote, you know? Yeah, it looks like big swaths of land are going crazy over the Republican Party, but that don't mean nothing.
How about Michigan? We'll give her blue there. 251 electoral votes. How about Pennsylvania? Look at this. To 270 electoral votes if those Washington Post polls are in fact correct. And so she has a very clear path to 270 electoral votes. Of course, Aaron, I don't just like looking at one poll. I like to look at an aggregate of polling. So let's take a look at the recent aggregate of polls in these blue wall states. Now, what do we see? We see very close contests. It's actually closer than the Washington Post polls. But again, less than a point lead for Harris in Wisconsin, less than a point lead in Michigan, less than a point lead in Pennsylvania. But the bottom line is Kamala Harris, based upon these polling data, both from the Washington Post and in the averages, has a very clear path at this particular point, just based upon those states, to 270 electoral votes. The bottom line is I don't understand the Democratic panic right now because the path is clear.
It's clear, and just to make it very clear for people, that would mean she doesn't need to win any of those other states you have there, which includes North Carolina, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia. I mean, that's just to put an emphasis on it. But North Carolina is must win for Trump on any path he has to 270. I know. You got early voting in North Carolina that has started, also in Georgia, and it has shattered records in both places. In Georgia, though, what is the number now, Harry? More than 1.5 million?
1.5 million. Yeah.
Okay, and I had seen somewhere that it's double-digit percentage point, double-digit of who voted before. It could be 13% or so already of the electorate. I mean, those numbers are pretty stunning.
We just have to trust that the polls aren't underestimating Trump like they have in the last two elections. I mean, dude, they have adjusted so much that people literally claim that the polls are firmly adding on like 2 points on Trump's side. Like even reputable pollsters. I'm not talking about like the obvious ridiculous pollsters. There's a lot of junk polls out there that are like Trump's doing right. Like I don't care about that shit. But I do think that pollsters have basically tilted the scales in Trump's direction pretty aggressively. At least they admit it. They admit that they're doing that. It's not like they admit that they're doing that due to the fact that they failed in 2016, especially. If you want my annoying suburb math, Texas is trending in the right direction. Biden lost by 600K, and these counties in the picture are worth 300K votes. Just off natural swing, persuasion, people moving in, etc. Texas is viable, if not this year. I do not believe that Texas is viable this year. We'll see what happens if the Democratic Party changes dramatically in the way that they communicate a message in other elections. I do not believe that Texas is viable this year. Michigan, new Quinnipiac poll showing Harris at 49 and Trump at 46%. Wisconsin at Harris 48 to 48. Yeah, Wisconsin is not looking great and hasn't looked. Was fake 2 weeks ago, now the best poll ever. Trump was up +3 2 weeks ago in this poll. See, I told you Texas libs are crazy. No, it's not wrong to assume that Texas will inevitably get bluer and bluer, dude. Like, this is what happens when people move into your fucking state and you just are forced to live around other people, okay? That's not that shocking. It literally happened in fucking Georgia too. It's not that shocking. It's just that it still has a long way to go. And beyond that, I think a lot of people fail to recognize that the communication strategy has to change, especially for Texas. New UAW poll shows members' support for Harris growing significantly in battleground states. Union members in key swing states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada. Harris leads by 22 points. White UAW members without a college degree, Harris now holds a 5-point lead. I wonder what the lead was for Joe Biden, though. It's probably higher for white members without a college degree. Metro Atlanta has outsized impact compared to most other cities in red states. Over half the population lives in Metro Atlanta. From Wisconsin, my mom ran a major political advertising firm nationwide and has some of the best contacts on the ground in Wisconsin, where she got her start doing Herb Kohl's races. Massive early voting numbers out of Madison, bigger than 2020 so far. Tammy Baldwin +5 or so. Harris probably more like +2. I don't know about that, and I don't even think the campaign agrees with you on that. I think the campaign is looking at Wisconsin like it might be lost territory. Maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, I don't know, but Wisconsin in every poll is underperforming in comparison to the other blue wall states. Can you explain why right-wing pollsters in these betting markets are artificially making Trump seem more popular in the vote share? Genuinely don't get the logic. Why won't people vote harder if they think they're losing? The common response to this is like people want to vote for a winner. Like he's an underdog by mainstream media, but like the real polls show that he's gonna win. But also on the opposite front, people will say, well, Kamala Harris is being quiet about how good her internal polls are in comparison to what the national polls look like what the prominent pollsters are saying, because she wants to drive turnout. So I don't know. I think ultimately the reason why right-wing polls pump that shit is so that people talk about it, so that people talk more about Trump and his possibilities of winning. I don't want to be that guy, but polls were wrong 2016, 2020, and these past midterms, they said a red wave was coming. I don't know why we still keep listening to polls when they've been so wrong these past elections. Last time I posted this, don't time me out. Okay, there is no other mechanism to develop an understanding, at least in the region, of what the fuck is going on the ground. There's nothing else. If you don't look at polls, then you just have to vibe it out. You have to hallucinate. And I don't think the polls were as wrong as you think they were in 2022. The interpretation of polls oftentimes is what people remember, not necessarily what the polls show. That's it. 2022 flashbacks is saying Ed Germentum. Newest total mail ballots, Clark County, Nevada, 10/22/2024, mail file. Dems, 45%, Republicans, 27%, other, 40%. What the no, not 40%, sorry, 28%. What the Good day for mail for Dems that more than offsets reps good day of early in person. What, the polls Herschel Walker winning easily? What are we talking about? Wait, what? What do you mean? The polls were saying Herschel Walker was winning easily? What? Were they? I don't remember that. Maybe because, like I said, I never interpreted that at all. I don't think they did. I don't think that's true. I mean, it's pretty even in Wisconsin. Probably like +1 Harris average on the first page of selected pollsters, which is in line with the margin Biden won in 2020. Yeah. Walker 538 average shows Walker is slightly favored to win Georgia Senate election. This shows Landmark shows even. Trafalgar shows obviously Walker +3, Warnock +6, Walker +1, Warnock +4, Walker +4, even 0. Emerson College, Warnock +2. Why can't you go off actual election results in the midterms? Like, there were quite a number of elections where turnout for Dems was very high, because midterm elections, albeit are supposed to be like an approval, like a election that is designed to be like, we don't like what the current administration is doing, or we like what the current administration is doing. Usually the former rather than the latter. Having said that, midterm elections, people that participate in the midterm elections are high propensity voters. Okay. And Democrats have definitely captured the attention of a significant number of high propensity voters, like likely voters that go out and vote all the time. Okay. Oftentimes, these people have a college education, or even if they don't have a college education, they're like relatively wealthier than the average person. Like, these are people who care. They're old people. They have time on their hands, you know? They don't have like a traditional 9-to-5 wage job. This doesn't mean that there aren't people that are outside of what I'm describing that vote in the midterms, but they have a higher likelihood of voting. Okay. The general election is not like that. The general election brings out a shit ton more people. It brings out as many people as possible. That's why there's, you know, a far larger number of people that go out and vote in the general in comparison to the midterms. The president, which is the most popular figure usually in terms of a broader audience reception, is also participating in the general election, whereas in midterms, they do not. So that's something to consider. What? Matt Walsh is anti-Trump? Wait, what? Did he get hacked? If this were Germany in the 1930s, Trump fans would seriously be voting for... I think he might have gotten hacked. Oh, wait. This is from 2016. Oh, he's... he was another one of those... You know, Charlie Kirk was this guy, right? A lot of people don't remember this. I didn't know this about Matt Walsh, but Charlie Kirk, I did know. How did you not notice? This is fun. I didn't know this was a thing. Thanks, guys. Thanks for showing me this. Yeah. The right-wing ideologues like this were all Cruz guys, I think. Yeah, they did not like, what do you call it? They did not like Donald Trump at all. They were like, he's so volatile. He's so volatile. He's going to harm the Republican Party. He's going to ruin the Republican Party. He's just saying a lot of shit that I don't agree with. We want a Jeb Bush-style Republican, you know? Burish Alamanjo, thank you for the 10 gifted subs right at the top of the hour. There's a 3-minute ad break now. You can also subscribe for $6 or for free with Twitch Prime. Burish Alamanjo, that's a Turk. Matt Walsh is the Republican voter Kamala wants. I'm quote retweeting that. Here's more from old Matt Walsh. Has to go deep into the Internet Archive to find this one from Matt Walsh. Trump was a closet liberal. As a young man by the name of Matt Walsh, then a writer at The Blaze, put it in his now deleted article, "Let me make this perfectly clear. I will never vote for Donald Trump. Many people have asked me what I'll do if, as is incredibly likely at this point, Trump tragically wins the nomination. Will I coalesce around the nominee and support my party, they wonder? The answer is no. Also, hell no. Also, how dare you even ask me that? I've spent months calling Trump what he is: a con man, a tyrant, a pathological liar, a flamboyant despot, a fraudster, a big government liberal, progressive in a very poorly fitting and unconvincing conservative costume, a Planned Parenthood apologist, an unrepentant philanderer, a crook, a creep, a spray tan, a reality TV Mussolini, a Caligula with bad hair, etc. How could I possibly vote?" Dude, he was doing the Mango Mussolini shit, dude. He was so fucking lived up. But also, he was more conservative than Trump. Like, you do realize, like, the shit that he hated about Donald Trump was the reason why Donald Trump won in 2016, which is the reason why people objectively thought that Donald Trump was more moderate than Hillary Clinton, something that many people forget. Like, we always hyper-focus on his, like, insane rhetoric surrounding Mexicans and shit. But on a lot of other issues, Trump tracked as a moderate figure in comparison to the Republican Party. This is part of the reason why some Republicans hated him. How could I possibly vote for a guy who I've just described this way? How could I possibly unite around this man when I've spent months correctly observing the fact that he's a scam artist who lies about everything, including his opposition to illegal immigration? Moderate on what? Donald Trump was pro-LGBTQ. Okay? Donald Trump was pro-LGBTQ, pro-defending social safety nets, never fucking brought up like deficit hawking, anti-war, okay? Like, these were all things, like, and before you say, well, he says the opposite of everything. Yeah, he does. He's a fucking con man. He is a grifter. But the way that people saw him, which were all lies, by the way, but the way that people saw him was that he was objectively more moderate on these issues than many of his Republican counterparts. What is this? I went to Trump Burger today. Wish you were there. One of the worst burgers I've had, Lamau. I saw a content creator also do this, and he said it was shit. It was all bun, no meat. Not sure if this lib shit, but I'm seeing rumblings about something big coming for Trump soon. It seems like it's lib shit. But it doesn't even matter. Bernie and I have been doing this work for a long time, even if we don't look it. Together, we've made real progress. $35 insulin for seniors. $35 inhalers for asthma. $2,000 yearly cap on drug costs for seniors. We're showing how healthcare should be a right, not a privilege. More of this, please. Here. Bernie and Biden fanfic must be nice for seniors. I mean, yeah, that's the only people that we're keeping alive, okay? Why? Because they love voting. They fucking love to vote. That's the only thing that seniors do. They vote to ruin this goddamn country and ruin any fucking future prospects with their antiquated ideals, okay? And they will live forever. That's it. Get ready, okay? There's just nothing. There's nothing else you can do about it. Old people like two things, which is fucking unprotected, okay? Spreading STDs as a consequence of that, and voting. Those are and voting for the worst, most fucking radical, most right-wing policy possible. Unless it's about, like, you know, social safety nets that pertain to their existence, then they will tilt like a goddamn Maoist, okay? They'll be pushing for a fucking cultural revolution in America if it means that, like, their Medicare is intact, okay? Let me tell you, they love their social safety nets, but they also love talking about how much money we're spending. Red Sun in the nursing home? Oh, yeah. It goes hard. It goes fucking hard, dude. Just in, the Justice Department has sent a letter to the Elon Musk super PAC warning that his daily 1 million giveaway to registered voters in swing states might violate federal law, sources tell CNN. It's illegal to incentivize registration with cash prizes. Wow. It turns out we have a fucking Justice Department. That's crazy. What a shocking state of affairs, dude. I can't wait for these fucking dipshits to turn around and act like this is lawfare again. They're attacking us for doing illegal shit. Why did you snitch again, Hasan? I did. Just like I control Twitch, I also control the FEC, and I also control the DOJ. Yeah, I'm the one who knocks. I'm the one who controls everything, okay? Remember when I snitched on Aiden Ross, and then Trump had to give back the Rolly that Aiden Ross was giving him as an illegal donation, and then everyone yelled at me, and then I said, it seems like Elon Musk's $1 million giveaway might be illegal, and now the DOJ is saying that as well. It's because they're locked in. They are watching the HasanAbi broadcast. They're all subscribed. Top of the hour or bottom of the hour, doesn't matter. They're all they don't want to miss a moment, you know? I am Merrick Garland. Yes, Merrick Garland is in the chat. It's pretty funny because, like, people do legitimately believe that. That's so sad. It's such a sad state of affairs that there is, like, a significant number of people online that legitimately do believe these unhinged ass fucking conspiracy theories. Anyway, CNN has reached out seeking comment from Musk. Several email addresses listed on the Super PAC website. The group's treasurer and Musk press team, the Justice Department, declined to comment. We want to try to get over 1 million, maybe 2 million voters in the battleground states to sign the petition to support the First Amendment and Second Amendment, Musk said in announcing the sweepstakes at a Trump campaign event in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We are going to be awarding $1 million randomly to people who have signed the petition every day from now until the election. Remember when Super PAC laws existed, like, or there was some level of, like, restriction in terms of, like, what a Super PAC could do as far as, like, communicating directly with the campaign? That's also not even the point of contention here, for the record, because that also is illegal. Okay, like, you can't as a person who runs a Super PAC directly talk to the president. It's supposed to be, Super PACs are supposed to be about certain issues. They could even be about, like, one candidate that they like. But what they can't do is operate with unlimited donations, okay, dark money, unlimited donations, that is directly a additional war coffer, a war chest for the candidacy that directly communicates with the candidacy every single fucking day. Now, of course, that's what it looks like on paper, and nobody gives a shit about that. PAC actually stands for person able to chat in parentheses with the president. Yeah. Anyway. The fact Elon thought he'd get away with this, I don't think he cares. I think he wakes up every day and goes, I'm a billionaire. Everybody thinks I'm brilliant. They don't. Okay. He's only surrounded himself with people that say that. And also, I'm untouchable. And honestly, kind of, that is kind of true. Like, he is kind of untouchable. When you are a billionaire, you are untouchable. So worst case scenario, this is illegal and the DOJ says, hey, you need to cut this shit out. Now he doesn't have to spend $1 million every fucking day. Great. You know, that's it.
So what are you looking for in Georgia?
Yeah, what am I looking for in these states? I mean, look, I think we're going to have a very close race in Georgia. Look at this. We got a point lead in the polls there for Donald Trump, well within the margin of error. Less than a point in North Carolina. 2-point lead for Donald Trump, again, well within the margin of error in Arizona. Less than a point lead for Kamala Harris in Nevada. So, you know, even if we gave, you know, Donald Trump, say, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, you can still, in fact, get Kamala Harris to 270 by giving her North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada.
Okay, that is a far less likely pathway to 270. Like, that's some shit. Okay? That is, what the yeah. Okay.
So, again, I don't understand this Democratic panic, Aaron.
All right. So you don't
Okay.
understand it, and yet, so you've been looking around for reasons since it doesn't seem to add up.
Yeah.
And I know you have found something that has nothing to do with Harris that may account for it.
Yeah. Angry if opposing candidate wins. Harris voters, 52% would be angry if Donald Trump won, compared to just 42% of voters who would be angry if Kamala Harris won. I think Democrats feel like there's a lot more on the line in this election, and that's why they're panicking, even though the polls at this point say, Kamala, por favor.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Israel in a second. Actually, not even in a second. We'll talk about it now. So, couple things. One, Israeli official tell Khan News Israel is now on the verge of attacking Iran. That's number one. And number two, before we get to the Kamala Harris interview, Los Angeles Times won't endorse a presidential candidate for the first time since 2008. Elon Musk is saying some fucking unhinged shit. But beyond that, Israel's up to Israel shit once again. First, they claimed that there were, gold nuggets under the fucking Lebanese hospital, signaling that they would blow up the Lebanese hospital. But considering that Lebanon is not, understand what the fuck. All right, let's get back to Kamala Harris. She's going to attend a CNN town hall in Pennsylvania.
Focus on.
That's right, Marky. The vice president is in Pennsylvania on the outskirts of Philadelphia for the CNN town hall. And it really follows the same themes as what she's been saying on the campaign trail so far. She has been trying to appeal to undecided voters who have yet to make up their mind. She's going to talk about, how her presidency will differ from President Biden's. And she is talking more and more about the issues that matter to voters. She's talked about abortion. She's talked about, the fall of Roe v. Wade. And what we're going to hear from her really is continue to push that messaging, especially from her campaign in the blue wall states this week that is appearing to show her, slightly losing the edge to former President Trump. And that is a real concern for her campaign as well. This also comes at a time when polling is showing, that the vice president is losing her momentum as well. The DDHQ and the Hill polling aggregate shows that former President Trump has taken the lead in the campaign for the first time since the start of her campaign. So lots of things to look forward to, Maki.
Also, Sarakshi, I know that the vice president is set to campaign in red states later this week, kind of a red state detour, if you will. What's the strategy behind that when she likely won't win those states?
I mean, she's going to Texas because Allred, to support Allred's campaign. That's why she's going to Texas. That's it. I don't think it's I don't think it's that stupid. Texas is closer than polling is showing. No, Texas is not going to the Democrats. That is fucking insane. But the reason why she's going to Texas is because she thinks she can push for Allred.
Look, we've heard from her senior campaign advisors that the reason why she's going to these red states is she's going to be seen alongside women who have been impacted by Texas's near total ban on abortion. And this is something we heard from former President Obama as well yesterday. And so this is what he had to say on abortion.
I saw some dude on TikTok declaring Harris's visit to Texas is proof that he will that Harris will win bigly on November 5th. Yeah. The problem with that analysis, and I know who that guy is. Like, I'm interested in hearing every fucking opinion on this issue, okay? Because people are just trying to read the tea leaves at this point because there is no way to decipher like who's going to win from just simply looking at the polls. The issue with that analysis, I saw that TikTok as well. That dude was saying like, oh, well, they're confident. They're so confident in the swing states in their internal polls that they're actually going to Texas, spending any time in Texas right now. So like he's assuming that there is a competent campaign in charge, and also assuming that their internal polls must be showing that the Democrats are actually outpacing the national polls and the polls that keep coming out. I think that there's a little bit of copium there for sure. I think that the real reason why she's going is because they are obviously trying to maintain any kind of control in Congress that they can. And the pathway to that obviously has to be a flip. So, you know, that's the reason why she's pushing for it.
Such a deeply personal decision should be made by the woman whose body is involved and not by politicians. And the majority of America agrees with it, which is why you've been seeing Donald Trump try to tie himself into a pretzel on this issue.
So what we're seeing right now is that even though she knows she's not going to win these red states, the Harris campaign, as well as her surrogates, are hitting these red states in order to shed light on this issue and try and convince some voters who may not have made up their minds yet.
Right, yeah, doing everything they can in this final push. Sarakshi Rai, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.
Bring in our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, now with the latest on Vice President Harris's campaign. Good morning to you, Mary.
Good morning, Robin. Well, with the final days of this race now upon us, Kamala Harris this morning says while she is focused on the present and making her closing argument to voters, her team is preparing for any potential fallout should she win, and the possibility that Donald Trump could try to undermine the results again. This morning, Kamala Harris says she's preparing for the possibility Donald Trump could prematurely try to claim victory on election night, pointing to his actions in 2020.
This is a person, Donald Trump, who tried to undo a free and fair election, who still denies the will of the people, who incited a violent mob to attack the United States Capitol, and 140 law enforcement officers were attacked. Some were killed. This is a serious matter. The American people are, at this point, 2 weeks out, being presented with a very, very...
I think they're right. Imagine flipping Texas would be great. Sure, dude. Getting apathetic voters excited about down ballot stuff could potentially get some to turn out.
Very serious decision about what will be the future of our country.
As she stands poised to potentially make history, Harris pressed on the role that sexism and racism may be playing in this campaign, but making it clear she's running on her record, not her identity.
I will never assume that anyone in our country should elect a leader based on their gender or their race. Instead, that leader needs to earn the vote based on substance and what they will do to address challenges and
Dude, I just want Ted Cruz to not be a senator any longer. I don't give a fuck. I really, that would be sick. Okay. I do not think Texas will fucking flip blue. I think that there are enough blue enclaves in the state and enough like annoyed voters against Ted Cruz that like already could have some motion. I don't know. I mean, he's just like this is yet again more so about how awful Ted Cruz is in general. But who knows?
To inspire people to know that their aspirations and their ambitions can and will be achieved.
With less than 2 weeks until Election Day, Harris off the trail amid another media blitz, joining CNN for a town hall tonight after Trump refused their invitation for a second debate. Instead, the campaign deploying some of its heaviest hitters to key battlegrounds. Former President Barack Obama out with her running mate Tim Walz in Wisconsin and joined by rapper Eminem in Detroit.
We do not need to see what an older, loonier Donald Trump looks like with no guardrails. America's ready to turn the page. We're ready for a better story. Michigan, we are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
Now, tomorrow in Atlanta, Harris will be out on the trail with Obama for the...
Does anyone notice all across the country, Democratic candidates at all levels are campaigning on will work with the Republicans? All Portland metro area candidates are saying this. And no, that's like that's the national party message always, which is really funny because Republicans never run on that. Across the board, Republicans are like, I will never work with the Democrats. They are all that want to fucking suck up your spinal fluid so they can live forever. They want to microchip you. They have microchipped you already. You're gay now. You're gay and autistic because they gave you a vaccine. Democrats, on the other hand, are like, you know those guys that are saying all that? We're going to work with them to make bipartisan compromise happen. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's very stupid.
The first time, and Bruce Springsteen will be joining them as well. He, of course, has endorsed the vice president. Now he is lending his voice to her out on the trail later this week. And
what do you say to the libs that work with the Republicans that we've got Republicans giving permission structure for reps to stay home and or vote for Harris? Yeah, I don't think it's working. We'll see. Like, even if it ends up working, you've lost so much ground on like any kind of policy prescription you may have had to address the problems that Americans are facing. But even if it does work, it's like so in the margins. Like, this is such a marginal victory over a guy who is genuinely disliked.